Hi, teacher.
Hello, Rodrigo. How are you?
Um, yes,
Yes.
I'm fine.
Okay. Rodrigo, for today, I have a writer at this time. I'm actually waiting for him. Can you see my screen? Let me show you my screen.
Yes, I could.
Give me just a second. Let me show you my screen. Okay. Yes. Look, at this time, I have Ryder and then Audrey, then Joe, then Camila, Mauricio at the very end. I have a gap here.
Oh, yes, I forgot mm, my call.
But you can still schedule. Hello, Ryder. Okay. Just make sure to schedule. I have to let you go.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. You got this time, okay? So you can reserve. Hello, Ryder, how are you?
Hello, teacher. I'm fine, thanks.
Awesome. Okay, so we are running a little bit late, so let's get to it. I have this article, and we are going to practice reading the article, and then if we got time to do some exercises, let's do some. So, giant mysterious megalithic jars were unearthed in northeastern India. So this is an article in CNN. It was published recently in 2022, this month actually, just a few days ago. And let's see, can you help me read?
Yes, teacher, but I can't see the article.
Okay, let me share again. Can you see it now?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so let me scroll up. This is the title. Giant mysterious megalithic jars were unearthed in northeastern India. Okay, CNN, and that's the date. So let's see. Let's start. Can you see the screen?
Dozens of megalithic jars have been unearthed in Assam, India, at four previously unknown sites, according to a study published in the journal Asian Archaeology.
Okay.
The the stone jars range from
Jars, stone jars.
stone jars range from 1 to 3 meters, about 3.2 to 9.8 feet tall, according to study co-author Nicholas Scopal, doctoral candidate at Australian National University in Canberra. Some of the jars feature decorative carvings, while others are plain. He said around 65 jars have been discovered so far, but many more could be lurking beneath the ground, according to Scopal.
And this is a handful of the jars feature chisel designs. Okay, let's continue. Researchers.
Researchers have yet to unravel the mystery of when these jars were made and which civilization used them. He said, a handful of sites in the region with the same stone jars were discovered by the British in the 1920s, and prior to Scopal's 2020 excavation, there were 7 known sites. His team was analyzing jars
Analyzing,
found
analyze,
analyzing jars found at 3 of the locations. While exploring the surrounding areas, they stumbled across 4 previously unknown sites with partially exposed jars, which was a pleasant surprise, Scotland said. By going out surveying and
survey,
documenting,
survey, serving,
surveying and documenting them properly, the government and universities can manage their heritage a lot better and preserve these jars for future generations. Scopa said. Uh, a history of looters. By the time the research team found the exposed jars, most of their contents were long gone, Scopa said. There are oral historical accounts of the Naga local
villagers, villagers,
villagers pulling beds and
beat,
other
beats,
pulling beads and other items out of the jars. He said, while it's not now
precisely,
when the precisely when the beads were removed, since some of the locals still have them as family heirlooms.
heirlooms,
It's like heirlooms, did you?
yes, heirlooms,
Heirlooms. It's likely they unearthed the jars not too long ago. Scopal
added.
in one of the village were staying in, one of the elderly elderly ladies actually showed me some jewelry that had been pulled out of the jar, he said. Similar jars have been discovered in Laos, and researchers there have been fortunate to find jars
Fortunate, fortunate,
fortunate to find jars that were still intact with artifacts like beads and human remains inside. Scopel said he's hoping his team will eventually find unopened jars at the new sites in Assam to study the culture they originated from. Some of the buried
buried,
ones
buried,
buried one's mind had things still inside, but we haven't excavated yet, he said.
Okay, let's continue.
An unsolved mystery. It is difficult to date when these jars were first created, so researchers are not yet able to determine
Determine.
which
Determine.
determine determine which civilization crafted the stone jars, scholars say. Early estimates date the artifacts to 400 BC or earlier. According to lead study author Tilok Takuria, assistant professor in the history and archaeology department at the Northeastern Hill University, Tura campus in Meghalaya, India. Nile,
Nelly.
nailing down,
Nelly.
nailing,
Yeah.
nailing down the time period in which these jars were created is the team's next priority, Scopal said. To determine when the artifacts were buried, his team plans to use optically stimulated luminescence called OSL. This is a dating method where you take a sediment sample from directly underneath the jar and determine the light last hit that sample. Scopal said. The date would correspond with when the jars were
Buried.
buried,
Buried.
buried,
Mhm.
giving researchers a much better idea of when the jars were made. Un, another thing, unopened jars will also
Unopened.
unopened
Unearthing.
unearthing unopened jars will also be a big help in dating the stone
Pieces.
pieces, okay, pieces. According to Takuria, we need to have a plan for excavation in Assam to recover material culture and to reconstruct social and cultural behavior of these groups of people, he said.
Okay. So, any any comments in regards to this article, right? We have a lot of transitions, right? Can you hear me?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. We have a lot of transitions, right? And I can, from what I heard, we we have a couple of words that we need to practice. Pronunciation, okay? So, what is your understanding of this article? Give me your point of view. What is your opinion? Do you find it interesting? Hello? Can you hear me, Ryder?
Yes, teacher. It's a long article, but I.
Nah, it's not long. It's very short. Look, it's very, 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 very short.
Yes, but it's in English. Is but I find it interesting.
Yes. Are you familiar with megalithic artifacts, histories, stories, and history? I'm pretty sure you have. There's a lot of megalithic history in Bolivia, Peru, uh, like in the middle of South America, right? Hello?
Yes, teacher. Here we have similar
Artifacts?
megalithic artifacts. Yes.
Artifacts? Okay. Yes. And I'm sure like in India, it's a very old culture. So they have a lot of these artifacts over there. Okay. So what's going to happen is I'm going to give you this article, writer, and you're going to highlight transitions. Okay. I will give you the instructions in a little bit. I will share this article and just highlight your transitions that you find. Okay. I'm pretty sure you saw a lot of the transitions here. Okay.
Okay, teacher.
Okay, writer. Thank you so much. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you, teacher. Bye.
Bye-bye. Hello, Audrey.
Hi, teacher.
Hello. Are you ready?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so we have an article. I find it very interesting. A giant mysterious megalithic jars were unearthed in northeastern India. And this is an article by CNN. It was just published in April 7th of this year. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what the article says. Pay close attention to the transitions that we have discussed previously, okay? So can you help me with the reading?
Yes, teacher. Dozens of megalithic jars have been unearthed in Assam, India at 4 previously unknown sites, according to a study published in the journal Asian Archaeology.
Okay, continue please.
The stone jars range from 1 to 3 meters, about 3.2 to 9.8 feet tall, according to study co-author Nicholas Scopel, doctoral candidate at Australian National
Scopal,
University. Scopel,
Australia.
Scopel, doctoral
Australia.
candidate at Australia National University in Canberra.
Okay,
Uh,
so this is a study, right? Okay, let's continue.
Some of the jars featured decorative carvings,
Decorative.
while
Mhm.
others are plain. He said around 65 jars have been discovered so far, but many more could be lurking beneath the ground, according to Scopel.
Okay, so we have here this is an example from a jar, and it featured chisel designs. Okay, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this kind of uh, artifacts. Let's continue.
Continue. research have yet to
Unravel.
unravel the mystery of when these jars were made and which civilization asked them.
Use them.
History
Which civilization used them?
used them. He said a handful of sites in the region with the same stone jars were discovered by the British in the 1920 and prior to Scopal 2020 excavations. There were 7 more sites. His team was analyzing jars found at 3 of the locations.
Okay, good.
While exploring the surrounding areas, they stumbled across
Stumble.
for,
Stumble.
stumbled across for previously unknown site with partially exposed jars, which was a pleasant surprise, Scobal said. By going out
Survey.
surveying,
Survey.
surveying and documenting them properly, the government and universities can manage their heritage
Heritage.
heritage a lot better and preserve these jars for future generations, Scobal said.
Okay. So far, I'm
Far.
pretty sure you're familiar with these kind of articles and with this type of information. There's a lot of megalithic culture and history in South America, right? In Peru, I know in Bolivia, in well, in that area in particular. And I guess I find it very interesting because it's not only the fact that they are under the earth, but it's the fact that they're big jars, right? Why do we have big jars? Now, another thing to consider is now the information that we are trying to analyze. Are you paying attention to all the transition words that we are using or that we are finding in this text? For example, we're using while. Is a transition. Stumble across. Which es como encontrarse o, tropezarse con. That's what it means, okay? To stumble across. They stumble across. And we are finding a lot. There's more. A handful is also a phrase.
Teacher Ila arriba unearthed and
Where?
unearthed, not arriba in the title.
Many more.
No, arriba. I should understand.
Right here. According to.
Unearthed in the title.
Oh, unearthed.
Es unearthed.
Okay. For unearthed significa que fueron excavadas. Unearthed. El earth, si tú usas esta palabra, earth, como si fuera un verbo en infinitivo, por ejemplo, así. To earth significa como enterrar, ¿no?
Ajá.
Y si usas el opositivo, ¿qué significa? Exacto.
Vaya.
Okay, good.
Ajá.
Awesome. Oh,
Unearthed.
I like it. We're learning a lot of stuff and we talk about stumble across. Okay. And let's see, let's continue. A history of looters. ¿Qué significa looters? Delincuentes, ladrones. Okay, looters.
Listo, ya. By the time the Leo, no, teacher?
Yes, please.
Yeah. By the time the research team found the exposed jars, Most of their contents were long gone, Scopal say. There are oral historical accounts of the Naga, local
Villagers, villagers,
villagers, putting beads and other items out of the jar,
items, items.
item, items of the jars. He said, "Why listen now? Precisely when the beads were removed, since some of the
Locals,
locals still have them as family
heirlooms.
heirlooms. It's
Mhm.
likely they unearthed the jars not too long ago. Scopel at in one of the village we are staying in. One of the elderly ladies actually showed me
Jewelry,
some
jewelry.
jewelry, jewelry that had been pulled out of the jar. He said, similar jars have been discovered in Laos, and researchers there have been fortunate to find jars that were still intact with artifacts like beads and human remains inside. Scoopal said he is hoping his team will eventually find an opened jars at the new sites in the Assam to study the culture they originated from. Some of the buried ones might have things still inside, but we haven't escaped. But he said,
Excavated jet,
excavated, excavated jet,
he
jet,
said. Okay,
jet, jet.
good. So, any questions in vocabulary?
Yes, understand.
Heirlooms,
Um, eso, yes,
herencias,
herencia.
heirlooms. Okay.
Ajá.
Any other word, perhaps?
Sí, no, birds.
Where?
Beat,
Ah,
by,
beads.
yes, beats. When the beats.
Okay. Like little round balls, like marbles, como caniquitas. Beads,
Um,
como por ejemplo las de un rosario, esas son beads.
ajá.
Yes.
Ah,
Así se
ya.
le llamaría beads. Se le llamaría una forma redonda.
A las esferas.
Something like that. Yeah.
Ya.
Okay.
Ujú.
Let's see.
Sí, sí.
Artifacts. We talk about artifacts. Mhm. Excavated is in the past. Okay. And oh, we have also here an
And
open.
is the opposite?
Yes. No abiertas.
Ajá.
Okay. Good. And fortunate, we are familiar with that one. Fortunate. Let's continue really fast.
An unsolved mystery. It is difficult today when these jars were first created, so researchers are not yet able to determine which civilization craft the stone jars, scholars say. Early estimates date the artifacts to 400 before Christ of earlier, according to lead study author Shylock Takuria, assistant professor in the History and Archaeology department at the Northeastern Hill University Tura campus in Meghalaya, India.
India.
Nailing down the time period in which these jars were created is the team's next priority, Scopal said.
Priority.
Priority to determine when the
Determine.
artifact
Determine.
to to determine when the artifacts were buried. His team plans to use optically stimulated luminescence called OSL. This is a dating method where you take a sediment sample from directly underneath under the jar and determine when light last hit that sample could pulsate. The date will correspond with when the jars were buried, giving researchers a much better idea of when the jars were made. Unearthing unopened jars will also be a big help in dating
Pieces.
the stone pieces. According to Takuria, we need to have a plan for excavation in Assam to recover material culture and to reconstruct social and cultural behavior of these groups of people, he said.
Okay, thank you so much, Audrey. And this concludes the reading for this article. I will send it to you. And also, don't forget to highlight your transition words that you have seen after reading the article, okay?
Okay,
Thank you, Audrey. Have a good day or night.
teacher, is the survey?
Oh, yes. Let me see. There. Thank you, Audrey.
Bye bye, teacher.
Bye. Hello, Joe.
Hello, teacher. Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, so are you ready?
Not exactly, but okay.
Yes? No?
No, teacher.
No, no quiere hacer tiempo, no define, no define.
Are you ready or can you read? Do you think you could be able to read?
Teacher, I'm sorry. I'm in a bus. Mm, um, so I might hear some no, a little no noise.
Okay. Today we are supposed to read, okay? So can you read?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so giant mysterious megalithic jars were unearthed in northeastern India, okay? So let's see. Um, so we're going to talk about these giant artifacts, and they were found in India. The article is from CNN, is from this month, okay? So let's see, can you help me read? Yes?
All the phrase, teacher.
Yes, can you help me read? Are you able to read? Or if it's a little bit complicated, we can do some work here, okay? Si puedes leer, Joe, o se te complica. Hello? Can you hear me, Joe?
Sure, my internet is bad.
Okay. So let's see. ¿Sí me escuchas? Hello?
Yes, teacher.
Ok. ¿Me puedes apoyar, por favor, contestando este ejercicio? Si no puedes leer, tal vez podamos hacer un poco de ejercicio. Complete the sentences with the correct transitional signals. Capital
I
I.
can read, teacher.
Okay. So let's go to the article.
Okay.
Giant
I'm sorry.
mysterious megalithic jars were unearthed in northeastern India. So let's see. Can you help me start reading?
Okay. Mm, okay. CNN, dozen of megalithic or have been unearthed. Mm, unearthed in Assam,
Assam, continue.
Assam, okay. India at four previously okay, unknown cities, according to a study published in the journal Asian Archaeology. Archaeology. The stone falls range from 1 to 3 meters,
Okay.
about 3.2 to a no 9.8 feet tall, according to study author Nicholas uh, Scoper. Doctor candidate at the Australian National University in Cambridge.
Okay.
Some of the horse feature decorative carving, while others are plain. He said around six, 65 horse have been discovered so far. About many more could be looking beneath
Beneath.
the ground, according to Spoker.
Scopal.
A handful, Scopal. Okay, Scopal. A handful of the hairs feature
Featured chisel design.
okay. Could you repeat, teacher, this part?
Featured.
Feature?
Featured is in the past. Remember, featured.
Okay, future.
Chiseled.
Chiseled
Designs.
design.
Okay. Let's continue.
Researchers have yet to unravel the mystery of when these cars were made and which civilization used them. He said a handful of cities in the region with the same stone Horse is teacher or hers?
Okay.
Okay. Hearts were discovered with the bridge in the 18 20, 26.
1920s.
Okay, 1920s in prior to Spoker's 2020 excavation, there were 7 now cities. Um, his town was
His
analyzing
team.
her.
His
What?
team. His team.
Okay, his team. Okay, I'm sorry, teacher. His team was analyzing for found.
Okay, be careful. Jars. Jars.
Okay, jars. Okay, jars found at 3 of the location. While exploring the subordinating air, there uh, they they stumbled across for previously um, unknown cities wide partially ex, exposed jars, which has a pleasant surprise. Spoker said, by going out, surveying and
Surveying.
documenting,
Surveying.
surveying and document then properly, the government and universities um, okay uh, can manage their health care. Here, here take a lot better and provides these
Preserve.
jars
Preserve.
preserve. Okay, preserve these parts for future
Jars.
generation. Okay, jars. Um, jars for future generations. Spoken said. Um, a
Okay.
history. Oh, okay.
Yes. So I have here highlighted a couple of words. Okay. Unearth is the opposite, like earth, como enterrar, and unearth, desenterrar. In this case, we're unearth. That's what this word means, okay? We have here, I have highlighted some transition words, okay? Just to remember that we have practiced this. And for example, there's more, a handful, while, stumble across, which, and jars, well, highlighted it to pronounce, but looters. What are looters? Looters means thieves, ladrones, okay? That's what it means, looters. Especially when they steal things that people do not own, like stealing something unknown to society, right? In this case, looters. That's what it means. Okay, and we are going to stop here, Joe. I will give you this article so you can finish reading it. And also so that you can take a look at all the transitions that we have practiced in the past, okay? So you can highlight, continue highlighting transitional words, okay? And you can practice and complete reading the article, okay? We have a lot more to read, okay?
Okay, teacher.
Okay, Joe. And don't forget your survey for today. And thank you so much for coming. Okay.
Okay, I complete the survey, teacher.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Have a good night.
Okay, teacher. See you, teacher.
Bye-bye. Hello, Camila. Good evening.
Hello, teacher. Good evening.
How are you?
Fine. I'm sorry for the delay.
No problem. Okay, so remember, Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're going to take the opportunity to read some articles from CNN and NBC. So, BBC, I'm sorry. So today I have chosen this article. The title of it is Giant Mysterious Megalithic Jars Were Unearthed in Northeastern India, which is by CNN, and it was fairly recent, this month actually. It was published, this article was published, okay? So we're going to practice some reading and also go over some of the transition words and maybe new vocabulary. So would you like to start?
Okay. Dozens of megalithic jars have been unearthed in Assam, India, at 4 previously unknown sites, according to a study published in the journal Asian Archaeology. The stone jars range from 1 to 3 meters, about 3.2 to 9.8 feet tall, according to a study co-author Nicholas Scopal, doctoral candidate at Australian National University in Canberra.
Okay.
Some of the jars feature decorative carvings, while others are plain, he said. Around 56 jars have been discovered so far, but many more could be lurking beneath the ground, according to Scopal.
Okay. And decorative.
Decorative.
Okay. So here we have a handful of the jars which are in question. And I'm pretty sure you are very familiar with this kind of artifacts, right? To my understanding, there's a lot of megalithic artifacts in South America, right? Especially in the area of Chile, Peru, Bolivia. There's also a lot of findings in regards to huge artifacts, right?
Yeah, kind of. In Bolivia, it's not so common, but yes, we have it.
Really? Not so common?
We have it in the area of the Altiplano.
Yes.
About the Tiahuanacu culture is like, if I am not wrong, there are more ancient than the Mayas. So it's very interesting. Yeah, but it's a culture that was extinct, and they don't know how or where what happened. They don't know until now what happened with this culture.
Okay, that's interesting. I live in Yucatan, so there's a lot of Mayan culture here. And to my understanding, the Mayas are not the oldest culture. There's more in North Mexico, but to my understanding also is that the the ancient cultures are, I guess they come from Central and South America. And after finding this article, yes, I was thinking that I remember from one documentary that I watched a long time ago. They discussed this. They were determining which one was the oldest culture, and I'm pretty sure you're right. It has to be on the northern part of South America. So yes, I'm very familiar with that. Interesting. Okay, so before we continue, you can see here that I have highlighted some transition words, right?
Mhm.
And this is just some, but many more. Oh, let me finish highlighting. Okay. Do you have any questions in some of the vocabulary?
I think that I have one about, I think this is in the title. I don't know how to say it, well, megalithic. I don't know what it means.
They mean old, ancient.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that I don't know if I am having
Decorative, lurking,
lurking. Yeah.
could be lurking. Okay, lurking means like hiding,
Oh,
undiscovered. Okay,
okay.
that's what it means. Okay, lurking. Decorative. Okay, let me see. Carvings, you know
I
this
know
one.
it. Yeah.
Okay, let's continue.
Researchers researchers have yet to unravel the mystery of when these jars were made and which civilization used them, he said. A handful of sites in the region with the same stone jars were discovered by the British in the 1920s, and prior to Escopal's 2020 excavation, there were 7 known sites. His team was analyzing jars found at 3 of the locations.
Okay, just a second. Unravel.
Unravel.
Okay, so that means like to discover. And civilization, civilization.
Civilization.
Yeah,
Yeah.
civilization is actually this word. It took me a while when I was younger to understand it because I would say civilization, but it's civilization.
Civilization.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
civilization.
I didn't know that it was like pronounced like that.
Yes, actually, because how can I say it? Actually, there's different variations, but the most common, and I believe the proper one, is civilization.
Okay.
But yes, I have heard people saying civilization, but that's not
Not
wrong.
correct.
It's not wrong because a lot of people do it, but according to Oxford and Cambridge studies, it's more
It's
like
civilization.
it's an American pronunciation.
Mm,
We converted the word in how to pronounce it, and like many other words, right? We have done it, but the correct one is civilization.
okay.
Okay, let's continue.
A handful of sites in the region with the same stone jars were discovered by the British. I read this. I think yeah. It was while exploring the surrounding areas they stumbled across four previously unknown sites with partially exposed jars, which was a pleasant surprise, Escopel said.
Pleasant
By
surprise.
pleasant, okay, pleasant surprise. By going out, surviving, and documenting
Surveying.
a survey. Surveying, yeah. By going out, serving, and documenting them properly, the government and universities can manage their heritage a lot better and preserve these jars for future generations, Escopel said.
Okay, good. So here again, we have a couple of transition words, a handful, while, stumble across, which, serving is just a word, but I'm pretty sure there's
It's
more.
like serving is the verb of survey, right?
Survey, yes, survey.
Okay.
It sounds like survey because it's a French word
Hmm.
converted into English,
Oh, I didn't know that.
like souvenir, like fiance, and many more words. And there's some other words from Italian, like cafe, and there's a lot more. I can't remember at this moment, but mainly French words. Remember that the English were conquered by the French, so they adopted a lot of the words and they made them. They converted them into English. That's why we have a lot of synonyms. We have the original British, old British words. We have French, words, and we have Latin words, because remember, before the French, the British used to be a Roman colony, okay? So let's continue. A history of looters. You know what looters are?
Um, it's not like the thing that used to stole things. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, looters are thieves.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was the people that stole things. Yeah,
Steal things, right?
I know that this word of when they talk about the Egyptians and the tombs and everything, they call them looters.
Yes, and the reason why is because uh, a, a thief is a person that steals things, but you know you have them. Looters are people that find things to steal them before someone else finds them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the difference. That's why you found that word in the Egyptian history, because yes, it's very common. Okay.
Okay.
Hello, writer. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's continue, Camila.
Okay. A history of looters. By the time the research team found the exposed jars, most of their content were long gone, Scopel said. There are oral historical accounts of the Naga local villages pulling beds and other items off the jars, he said. While it's not known precisely when the beds were removed, since some of the locals still have them as family heirlooms,
Heirlooms, yes.
heirlooms. It's likely they underneath the jars not too long ago, Scopel added. In one of the
Villages.
villages we are staying in, one of the elderly ladies actually showed me some jewelry that had been pulled out of the jar, he said. Similar jars have been discovered in Laos, and researchers there have been fortunate to find jars that were still intact, with artifacts like beds and human remains inside.
Beads.
Beads. Okay. Like beads and human remains inside, Escopal said. He is hoping his team will eventually find unopened jars
Unopened. Unopened.
unopened
Opened.
unopened
Jar.
unopened jars at the new sites in Assam to study the culture they originated from. Some of the buried ones might have things still inside, but we haven't excavated yet, he said.
Okay, good. So here again, I highlighted beads. Heirlooms. You know what heirlooms are?
No, actually, no.
So when you, let's see, imagine you get something from your grandmother, from your mom, to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? And then you then give it to your kids, and then your kids give it to other kids. What is it?
I don't know, it's like a tradition or something that,
Yes, we call it in Spanish herencia.
yeah.
Okay, that's what that is what it means. And we have artifacts and excavated and unopened. Okay, I believe it's already time. Hello, Rodrigo. Okay, Camila. So we're going to stop here. I will give you the article so you can complete reading it. While you finish reading the article, pay close attention to all the transition words and also some of the vocabulary. You can also highlight it for your knowledge, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for today's call. Don't forget the survey.
Thank you, teacher. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye, see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Hello, Rodrigo, how are you?
Hi, teacher. Good evening.
Good evening. Everything okay?
Yes, teacher.
Awesome. So yes, this is your time now. Giant,
Yes.
mysterious, megalithic jars were unearthed in northeastern India. Okay, so this is a big title, and we're going to talk about a very interesting topic. So let's see. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this type of artifacts, okay? But let's read about this article, okay? Can you help me reading?
Okay. The first paragraph
Yes.
or okay. Dozens of megalithic hearts have been
Jars, jars,
jars have been unearthed in Assam, India, at four previously announced
sites,
sites, according to a study published in the journal Asian Archaeology,
published
published.
in the journal Asian Archaeology. Okay, good. Continue.
Um, the stone jars range from 1 to 3 meters, about 3.2 to 9.8 feet tall, according to a study co-author Nicholas Scopel, doctoral candidate at Australian National University in Canberra.
Okay.
Some of the jars feature decorative carvings, while others are plain, he said. Around 65 jars have been discovered so far, but many more could be lurking beneath the ground, according to Scopel.
Okay. And this is a handful of the jars featured chiseled designs. Okay. Featured chiseled designs. Now, I have highlighted transition words like this one is the same, and also, but many more. And also, I have some vocabulary: decorative, carvings, and lurking. Lurking means hiding, and just around. Okay, lurking. And okay, so yes, just reviewing some of the information that we have discussed previously. Do you have any questions so far?
Mm,
Not at the moment.
yeah,
Okay.
yes, I
What's
have
up?
questions. Uh, what uh, what is Bennett?
Beneath, lurking
Beneath.
beneath the ground. Cuando hablas de ground, se refiere como al piso, pero no piso, sino más como suelo. That means
Okay,
on the top, arriba, sobre encima de la tierra, ¿no? That means ground. Y cuando decimos beneath, debajo del piso, beneath the ground. Escondiéndose debajo del piso o del suelo, ¿ok?
okay, okay.
Good.
And other word, stone and garbage.
Carvings. Carvings. Okay. So carvings means to make forms with a knife, with another stone. Like for example, all of these are carvings. Como si estuvieras haciendo como una canoa con un cincel. Ya ves que le pegas y lo vas tallando. That's what it means, tallar. Carving. Carvings, cosas talladas. Carving.
Okay, okay.
Yes? Any more questions?
No.
Okay, so let's continue then.
Okay. Researchers have yet to unravel the mystery of when these jars were made and which civilization used them, he said. A handful of sites in the region with the same stone jars were discovered by the British in the 1920s prior to Scopel's 2020 excavation. There were 7 known sites. His team was analyzing jars found at 3 of the locations. While exploring the surrounding areas, they stumbled across 4 previously unknown sites with partially exposed jars, which was a pleasant surprise, Scopel said. By going out, surveying and documenting them properly, the government and universities can manage their heritage a lot better and preserve these jars for future generations, Escobar said.
Okay, so let's see. We have also a lot of vocabulary. Unravel, to discover. Civilization, civilization,
Civilization,
civilization, yes. A handful, okay.
a handful,
Un puño de sitios, a handful.
okay.
And we have some transitions. For example, while, which. Now, pay attention to these words, Rodrigo. Stumble across. Ellos se tropezaron sobre, ok, o al atravesar. Stumble significa tropezarse, stumble across, o como toparse. Ellos se toparon, they stumble across. That's what it means, okay? Eso es lo que significa esta expresión.
Okay.
Okay, stumble across. There is, I cannot translate word for word, pero puedo interpretar. I can interpret what it means. Okay, so that's pretty much what I'm saying. Any more questions in vocabulary? Oh, this one. Surveying, surveying.
Survey,
Okay, and manage, manage. No manage, manage.
manage,
No manage, no manage, manage, manage.
manage,
Okay, like manager, manager, manage, management.
okay.
Good. Okay, let's continue.
A history of looters.
Yes.
By the time the research team found the exposed jars, most of their contents were long gone, Scopal said. There are oral historical accounts of the Naga local villagers
Villagers.
pulling villagers
Villagers. Yes.
villagers
Yes.
pulling beds and other items out of the jars, he said. While it's not known precisely when the beds were removed, some of the locals still have them as family heirlooms. It's likely they unearthed the jars not too long ago, Scopper added.
Okay, so before we continue, what are looters?
I don't know.
Okay, like thieves. ¿Sí sabes qué es un thief? Un thief, un ladrón.
Okay.
Pero ¿cuál es la diferencia entre un ladrón y un looter? Un thief es un ladrón que roba algo que conoces o que sabemos que existe. You know. Y looter es alguien que se roba algo porque se lo encuentra. Nadie lo sabe, pero antes de que alguien lo tome, se lo lleva. Okay?
Okay.
So, yes, there's a big difference. Vamos a ver. Like this. Unknown, known. Okay?
Okay.
En beads son como en el rosario, ya ves que hablando de un rosario tienes como las bolitas, ¿no? The small balls,
Yes.
small pebbles or bubbles or balls, marbles. They're beads. En heirlooms significa artefactos que son de herencia. Heirlooms.
No.
Okay?
Yes. Okay.
All right. So let's continue.
Okay. In one of the
Villages.
villages were staying in, one of the elderly ladies actually showed me some jewelry jewelry that had been pulled out of the jar, he said. Similar jars have been discovered in Laos, and researchers there have been fortunate to find jars that were still intact with artifacts, like beads and human remains inside, Escobar said. He is hoping his team will eventually find unopened jars at the new sites in Assam to study the culture they originate from.
Okay.
Some of the buried ones might have things still inside, but we haven't excavated yet, he said.
Okay. So let's see. Let's go by parts. Buried. In the past.
Buried,
Excavated.
excavated.
Te voy a decir un secreto. No es un secreto, pero nos va a facilitar más la pronunciación. Siempre cuando tengas una T y tengas este orden, T-E-D o incluso D-E-D, siempre se va a pronunciar tal cual. Excavated, exploded, I can't think of many more words, pero aquí sí lo vas a pronunciar todo tal cual, ¿ok?
Okay.
When you have something like this, other words that are not T or D, you're always going to pronounce different. Unopened, opened. It's very easy for us to get confused, we Spanish-speaking people, porque es más fácil decir unopened en lugar de decir unopened. Esa sound, no ned. Como que encontramos esa similitud y por eso es más práctico nosotros pronunciarlo al final, así tal cual. Pero es incorrecto. ¿Ok? Porque incluso esta E, en este ejemplo, es muda. Unopened, buried.
Yes.
Okay. In this case, no, excavated. Okay.
Yes, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, Rodrigo, we're going to stop here. I will give you the article so you can finish reading. Don't forget to go over the vocabulary and also the transitions that we have discussed, okay? Before you go, please complete the survey. And thank you so much for the call. Have a good night.
Thank you, teacher. Goodbye.
Okay, bye-bye. Hello, Mauricio.
Hello, teacher. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you, sir?
Sad teacher. I'm a Chelsea fan.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yes. Okay, so let's do this really fast so you can continue to your game. Okay, so let's see. This article is very interesting, okay? I'm pretty sure you're familiar with some of the information. Giant, mysterious, megalithic jars were unearthed in northeastern India. And this is an article by CNN, and it was just published a few days ago, okay? So remember the drill, we're going to read. In this case, so that we can practice some of the new vocabulary and also transitions that we have previously discussed. So can you please help me reading? With the reading, please.
Yes. Mm, Dozens of megalithic jars have been unearthed in
Unearthed?
Assam,
Unearthed?
un- unearthed in Assam, India, at 4 previously unknown sites, according to a study published in the journal Asian Archaeology.
Archaeology.
This
Archaeology.
archaeology. Okay. The stone jars range from 1 to 3 meters, about 3.2 to 9.8 feet tall, according to study co-author Nicholas Scopel, doctoral candidate at Australian National University in Canberra. Some of the jars feature decorative carvings, while others are plain, he said. Around 65 jars have been discovered so far, but many more could be lurking beneath
Mhm.
beneath the ground, according to Scopel.
Okay, so here we have some transitions that we have discussed according to, this is a transition, and a transition. And are you familiar with carvings?
No, really no.
Okay, but look at the whole word. We have an adjective and we have the noun. Decorative carvings. A carving is like, for example, in this artifact right here, all of these are figures, designs. Imagine having a knife or a chisel, un cincel, y lo tallas,
Uh-huh.
¿no? You carve it, you lo tallas. That's what it
Oh,
means, carvings. Okay,
okay.
not necessarily with a knife or a chisel. It could be also with another stone, or I don't know. Just there's many different ways to do carvings. Okay, and lurking. What is lurking? Like hiding, right? Hiding, escondiéndose, acechando, something like that.
Oh, yes.
Okay, lurking beneath the ground. You don't know where it is, but it's there. Okay, good.
Okay.
So this is just an example. Chiseled, aquí dice chiseled. Cinceleados, to make the form. Okay, mostrados, cinceleados.
Uh-huh.
Featured chiseled, that's what it means. Okay, designs. And let's continue with the reading, okay?
Oh, okay. Researchers have yet to unravel the mystery of when these jars were made and which civilization used them, he said. Uh, a handful of sites in the region with the same stone jars were discovered by the British in the 1920s, and prior to Scopel's 2020 excavation. There were 7 known sites. His team was analyzing jars found at 3 of the locations. While exploring the surrounding areas, they stumbled across 4 previously unknown sites with partially exposed jars, which was a pleasant surprise. Scopel said, by going out, uh, sorry, by going out surveying and documenting them properly, the government and universities can manage their heritage a lot better and preserve these jars for future generations. Scopal said.
Okay, so I have some words that are highlighted and rabble. So they're not discovered yet. Civilization, a handful, un puñado. And we have also some transitions. While, stumble across. Stumble across, it's like saying tropezarse con, o se atravesaron con. Okay, because stumble means tropezarse, but it's in the past. Stumble across. Okay, another transition, which, and we have survey, the fact of doing some encuestas. Okay,
Sorry, teacher.
do you have any more words?
I, 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 I didn't hear the last explanation. My internet is so bad.
Okay, okay. Did you hear me here?
Yes, I didn't hear signs stumbled across.
Okay, so we have here some transitions. While, which, stumble across. Stumble significa tropezarse. Cuando lo juntas con across, they stumbled across, significa como que ellos se atravesaron con, atravesarse con o tropezarse con algo. No el hecho de tropezarse, sino que de repente algo apareció o se encontraron algo. That's what it means. Like in Spanish, okay?
Okay.
Yes? Good. Do you have any more questions? Oh, and survey. The fact of doing encuestas, ¿no? Haciendo una encuesta. Yes? Do you have any questions? Hello? Hello, Rodrigo. Mauricio, I'm sorry. Hello.
Sorry, teacher. Was my internet these days is so bad?
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm glad you're back. Okay. So surveying es encuesta, surveying, doing encuestas. Okay. Good. So let's continue. What is looters? A history of looters.
Looters.
What is it
I
for
don't
you?
know. I don't know, teacher.
No?
No.
Okay. So let's see. A looter is a thief. ¿Sí sabes qué es un thief?
Thief is
Ladrón.
ladrón.
¿Sí? Okay. Y un looter es un ladrón. But the difference is, un thief es una persona que roba algo, lo cual sabes que existe, ¿no? Como robarse un banco, robarse ropa, robarse algo que la gente sabe. Un looter es una persona que se roba algo que lo cual nadie sabe que existe, que apareció, como un saqueador. ¿Ok?
Ya.
No que no exista, sino que la gente desconoce que estaba ahí.
Ya.
That's a looter, es un saqueador. Okay?
Okay, teacher.
So let's continue with the reading, please.
Okay. By the time the research team found the exposed jars, most of their contents were long gone, Scopel said. There are oral historic accounts of the Naga local villagers pulling beads and other items out of the jars, he said. While it's not known precisely when the beads were removed, since some of the locals still have them as family heirlooms.
Heirlooms.
Heirlooms. It's likely they unearthed the jars not too long ago. Scopel added.
Okay.
Sorry.
So we have some words that are also highlighted. We have beats. Do you know where beats are?
The bits were no. No. Sorry.
Ok. ¿Has visto un rosario, no?
Sí.
Ok. Y ese rosario tiene como bolitas o perlas.
Sí.
Ok. Esos son beats. Okay, esos son beats. And they can be big, they can be small. They could vary. So that's what it is, beats. And heirlooms. Heirlooms are artifacts which you inherit. Son artefactos heredados. That's what it means, heirlooms. Herencias.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Any more questions in vocabulary here?
I didn't know, teacher.
Okay, good. So let's continue.
In one of the villages we are still in, one of the elderly ladies actually showed me some jewelry that had been pulled out of the jar. He said, similar jars have been discovered in Laos, and researchers there have been fortunate to find jars that were still intact and artifacts like beads and human remains inside, Scopel said. He is hoping his team will eventually find un, unknown, unopened jars at the new sites in Assam to study the culture they originated from.
Yes. Continue.
Some of the
Buried
ones might have things still inside, but we haven't excavated yet, he said.
Okay, good. So artifacts, and remember, like I was explaining, Rodrigo, whenever you have a TED and DED, se pronuncia tal cual, excavated, originated. Pero cuando es diferente a ese tipo de pasado simple, la E es muda, unopened, buried.
Yeah.
Okay. Es muy cómodo para nosotros decir unopened, buried, porque suena muy similar, pero está equivocado. El último sonido es solamente de la D, unopened, buried, buried.
Okay, teacher.
Con excepción de estos casos, okay?
Okay.
Okay, Mauricio, I will give you the article so you can come finish reading. Don't forget to highlight your transitions and also some of the words that are new, okay? And that'll be all for my behalf. Don't forget to please answer your survey, okay?
Okay, teacher.
And have a good night, Mauricio. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, teacher. Have a good night too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.